This is the new aristocracy trying to control the rest of us. It goes directly in the face of the American experiment. Remember, we talk about life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, which is literally property from John Locke. Life, liberty, property. They say you'll own nothing and be happy. In other words, your pursuit of happiness is completely divorced from your ability to earn a living, pay for your kids, enjoy things with your grandkids, buy property, build something. They said, no, 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 you're going to follow society. So you're no longer an individual responsible to God. You are a part of a society and you're responsible to government.
Welcome back. Talking to Kevin Freeman. He's the host of the Economic War Room on Blaze TV and the author of a brand new book, Pirate Money, Discovering the Founder's Hidden Plan for Economic Justice and Defeating the Great Reset. So how does this help us defeat the Great Reset?
Well, Glenn Beck wrote a book with Justin Haskins about the Great Reset, and he said all great machines like that require fuel, and the fuel for that is money. And so if you remember the Battle of the Bulge movie or of the history, the German army could not have won without energy. They needed petrol. They needed fuel for their tanks, and when they ran out of it, it was the end of the German army. The Great Reset depends on controlling all of our money. It's all about the money for them. So Klaus Schwab and others would say you will own nothing and you will like it. They want to take control of money through central bank digital currencies where they can track, monitor, control everything that you do. By giving people a legal, constitutional choice, they can opt out. It won't be required, but they can opt out of that central bank digital currency system and deal in something that's sound, that's real, which would be gold and silver. At the state level, you will have the opportunity to transact in gold and silver.
Again, this is amazing. And now when you say at the state level, so only some states will be able to do this. So how does that work? In other words, I can buy stuff from those states if I don't live in one of those states, and I can pay in gold and silver using a card because there's actual gold backing this up?
Well, the beauty of it is my Discover card is out of Utah. I have cards out of Omaha, Nebraska, and North Carolina, and I use them all the time. Once you're connected to the financial rails, you'll be able to transact business anywhere. It's okay. It's legal. If you wanted to open a bank account in New Jersey or in Utah or New Mexico, you could do that right now, Eric. And so you could actually participate in another state's offering right now, and the Constitution allows that because it has uniformity of gold and silver. It's the same. Gold and silver is the same in Nebraska as it is Oklahoma.
So what is that for people that aren't excited about this? Why should people be excited about this? In other words, what is it, if your average person doesn't really understand this, and to some extent I don't, so I'm asking the question on behalf of myself as well. What is it that is happening now that puts me in danger? As I mentioned before, I don't like the idea of these unknown forces out there knowing every move I make. There's just something about that feels creepy to me. That's part of it, I guess. So you're saying that if I do this, they wouldn't know every move I'm making. I'm free and independent.
Right. In fact, in every piece of legislation, there is a statement of privacy. In Florida, for example, they have two pieces of legislation, but one that guarantees privacy. So that the state, which has, just imagine, you took gold, and you might have it in your safe at home, and you put it on deposit with a state, and then you could transact in it. You could write a check on it. You could show up at the depository and say, give me my gold out. I want my gold out. They couldn't fractionalize it. So it's not at risk like a bank. You put your money in a bank, and there's a run on the bank. People take, they've loaned out the money, so they can't give it to you. It's like it's a wonderful life scenario. You'll be able to know that your money is real. It's protected by the state. You can transact in it. You can go and buy a stick of gum. You can pay your mortgage with it. You can pay your employees with it. You can get paid with it. And it's an option. It is not the only choice you have. So by giving people choices and opt out, they can step out of the Great Reset. And if enough people realize that they have an opt out, it will defeat the Great Reset entirely. Because nobody would give their money over to an overarching controlling federal government if they knew their state gave them a better choice.
And obviously this is already happening. I mean, we look about the Canadian truckers. We look at everywhere we see this kind of stuff happening. Mike Lindell, his banks, I can't remember specifically what they did, but the power that banks have with our money, that power needs to be taken out of their hands. And it sounds to me like this is a part of that.
Yeah, because money will go where it's treated best. And so if you know your bank is going to cancel you, like my friend Nick Vujicic had his bank account canceled. He doesn't know why. I guess it's because he spoke at a pro-life rally. That's what he thinks. So they just canceled him. You could put your money here and you would know it could not be canceled. It's your money. You can go pick it up, but it's not dirty green pieces of paper with Washington's picture on it. It's actual gold and silver, which is what the Bible talks about as money. It's what the Constitution talks about as money. It's what 6,000 years of human history has declared as money.
Well, isn't it fascinating that you have 6,000 years of people using gold and silver? It's elemental, literally elemental. These are elements on the periodic table created by God, and suddenly in our lifetime that ends. It's a dramatic thing that we're living at a time where we have gone away from what had been part of life for everyone in all civilization, effectively.
Every major currency that's gone away from it has eventually failed. The British pound failed, and George Soros took them down. The Zimbabwe currency failed. Weimar Germany's currency failed. And more recently, Argentina and Venezuela, their currencies failed. The only thing holding our dollar up is confidence in the American government. I'm not willing to risk everything I own on the fact that the confidence will remain high.
Well, America's not the country that it used to be, and part of this is getting America to be the country that we're meant to be, that we used to be. Folks, I hate to interrupt, but I just don't want you to miss any of the content we're putting out on here. We've just got some amazing stuff, so would you do yourself a favor and hit the subscribe button so we can make sure you don't miss anything? I promise you, great stuff coming up. Hit the subscribe button. Thank you. So what is economic justice? What do you mean by that, Kevin Freeman?
Well, a perfect example of this is people can't buy gold unless you're wealthy. I had a client in Chicago. She owned a Steinway dealership. She had 3 rolls of gold coins she spent $50,000 for. When she passed away, I tried to sell them. And when you go and try and sell them, it took me 8 weeks and 3 different people to talk to sell that. It's inaccessible for small dollar people to get your money out quickly. It's a great investment. People love gold. But if you only have $1,000, how do you put $1,000 in gold and then the next day the washing machine breaks down? By having it as state-based transactional gold and silver, it's possible you can put the $1,000 in and you could spend it the next day. It makes it accessible for everyday Americans to own gold and silver.
So how is it that the founders 250 years ago could have foreseen that they would need to tell the states that they have the right to do this? That's kind of amazing to think about.
Yeah, well, they knew that because in the Continental Congress, they issued pieces of paper called Continentals. And I have one from Philadelphia in 1776, and it's payable to the bearer 4 Spanish mill dollars or the equivalent in gold and silver. The problem is they didn't have the gold and silver to back it up, and so the Continentals became worthless. The founders understood the failure of paper money personally. So Thomas Jefferson says paper is poverty. Alexander Hamilton says never go to a system based solely on paper. All the founders hated unbacked paper money. So they gave the states an opt-out. If the federal government screws up and does this unbacked paper money thing again, then you make gold and silver coin legal tender and use those.
Well, it's just an amazing thing that nearly 250 years later, here we are. And you and your confreres are going state to state and talking to people about this. What is your sense of where this goes from here? When does this become real?
Well, Utah says it's going to become real by March. Florida has got legislation. They think it's going to happen almost immediately. You can go to transactionalgold.com, and when you go there, you can click on active states, and you'll see which states, like Tennessee, is moving forward very rapidly. Louisiana, Connie Hare there from the State Freedom Caucus is talking to their new treasurer, John Fleming, and says, we've got to do this. Or Todd Russ, the treasurer in Oklahoma, with Senator Bullard and my dear friend who's fellow Cherokee Shane Jett and others. They're moving. They're so excited about this. They came out to Liberty Hawk. We had a seminar. We gave them each a copy of Pirate Money. They went back and carried it. National Federation of Christian Lawmakers, the State Financial Officers Foundation, Association of Mature American Citizens, Brigitte Gabriel, Act for America, one after one, when they read the book and get the idea, they endorse it. Eagle Forum across the country is moving forward on this, in Alabama and other states.
So, again, part of the motivation to do this is to defeat the Great Reset, to defeat the globalists who they're getting more control every single day unless we fight back. And this is a very key piece of making it impossible for them to have control over our lives.
And it's going on offense. We're so often on defense, Eric, that they've done this, we have to protest that, we have to push back. No, this is a way we can take the Constitution and go on offense and literally disarm them. Their strongest weapon will be controlling us by our money. If we give an alternative that's individual states, and by the way, we can have 50 state lab experiments. New Hampshire talked about putting blockchain into their bill that uses gold and silver, but blockchain's not to be found in the Florida bill. So 50 different states with 50 different approaches, each one of them aimed to kill the Great Reset.
And say to my audience again, because I haven't talked about it so much, what is the Great Reset? This is the globalists' attempt to take over the world, to destroy America, and to turn us all into globalists with no national affiliation, no national pride, no national sovereignty. They're using China, they're using the World Health Organization, they're using the bubble-headed figures in the Biden administration to destroy this nation, to destroy our freedoms, and this is a big part of it.
Yeah, to destroy individual liberty, to control everything you do. You'll force you to use an electric car, to force you to give up carbon emissions of any kind, to force you to eat bugs because they think bugs would be better for the planet, or literally they're just laughing at us. This is the new aristocracy trying to control the rest of us. It goes directly in the face of the American experiment. Remember, we talk about life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, which is literally property from John Locke. Life, liberty, property. They say you'll own nothing and be happy. In other words, your pursuit of happiness is completely divorced from your ability to earn a living, pay for your kids, enjoy things with your grandkids, buy property, build something. They said, no, you're going to follow society. So you're no longer an individual responsible to God. You are a part of a society and you're responsible to government.
You mentioned a website, transactionalgold.com. Is that the one that you're sending people to?
Yes, that's where you can learn more about all of this that we're talking about and what your state is doing. Of course, you can learn more about what I do at economicwarroom.com. This is one of half dozen different projects that we have working at the moment. And we have that weekly Blaze TV show. If you sign up for our free battle plans at economicwarroom.com, we'll send you an email that says, this is what we're covering on the show this week. These are the action steps. These are how you implement things.
Well, as I say, getting to know you a little bit better more recently when we were together in Dallas, it just has given me really great hope for the future, because I think there are a lot of people that they kind of think like, well, it's all going to hell. There's nothing we can do. We're just going to get in the, in the root cellar with our Slim Jims, our water purification tablets. We're going to wait for the rapture. That's the best we can do. Ladies and gentlemen, that is incorrect. That is incorrect. You can fight back, and there are innumerable reasons to have hope. And frankly, Kevin, it feels to me like if this could happen, and I think it will, that we could experience a new birth of freedom, to quote Abraham Lincoln, that we could see things, you talk about going on the offense, happening in America and spreading around the world that most people can't even dream about, that all of the good stuff that we have spent decades forgetting, that we would remember it, we would implement it, and we would share it around the world.